Well, starting a family can look different for many people. For Joseph Tito, it meant working with a surrogacy agency abroad to fulfill his dream of becoming a dad. Here's part one of his story.
I always said to myself that by the time I was 35, I wanted to have kids, and 35 came and went, and I was traveling the world and making TV shows and didn't think twice about it. And then 2 years ago, I was turning 37, and I was like, okay, it's either now or never. I looked into adoption, but at the time I was living in the Middle East, and also as a single male, it's close to impossible to adopt. And so then I looked into surrogacy. December was when they did the first embryo transfer. Unsuccessful. I was like all excited, yes, this is it, it's gonna happen, and didn't happen. Then the end of December they did it again. End of December didn't happen. January again, didn't happen. So basically 4 unsuccessful embryo transfers, and it's probably one of the worst feelings, just because it kind of feels like something is dying when kind of nothing is really born. So then by the 4th one, you start questioning, is this, maybe God doesn't want me to have kids, maybe this is not meant for me. And so then after the 4th unsuccessful transfer, the agency called me and said, you know what, maybe it's better you choose a new donor. And so I did, and twins. That was it. They're twins, and first of all, be careful what you wish for because you will get it. But then I realized, I think God only gives you what you can handle. And yeah, so here I am a week before I leave, and I'm going to pick up my girls. Having them there is very, very difficult. It's just everything's out of your hands, and they're so far, and it's not that you can just be like, oh, I'll be there in 20 minutes. If something happens, it's gonna take me 24 hours to get to. So that's been difficult. Once I get their birth certificate, me and the surrogate go to the Mombasa courts for her to sign releasing all her rights as a parent. Then I go to Nairobi, go to the Canadian consulate, give all the paperwork, send in that, and then schedule a DNA test. Once it's approved, then the consulate will issue their passports. So that takes another 48 to 72 hours after the approval. So in total, hopefully it won't be longer than a month I'll be there. The thing that's stressing me out the most right now is the whole Kenya experience, because it's not that you're taking your baby home from the hospital and you're home and you're okay. And once I get those passports, everything will be fine. Yeah, I just want to be home with them.
We begin with a cautionary tale for prospective parents considering surrogacy overseas.
A little-known Canadian law is keeping a new father from bringing his newborn twin daughters home from Kenya.
Tito's twins were born by surrogate in Kenya 1 month ago. On Friday, he says he was blindsided.
The immigration minister's office would not comment on this specific case, but said that in general, their first priority is the well-being of any children involved.
Told the girls can't leave until they're sponsored and approved for a passport.
And ensuring that every case is treated in accordance with Canadian law.
We've shared the first part of the story of Joseph Tito, who used a surrogate in Kenya to become a father to twin daughters. Well, he hit some unexpected complications on the way. He made headlines across this country, and today we're going to finish his story, and we'll meet his family in just a moment.
On November 30th, 2018, my life changed forever. I had these 2 little monkeys, and I've never been happier. The nurses didn't really know what surrogacy was and didn't know what this white guy was doing, and it was just very not balloons and flowers and what you expected. And we literally saw them for a second because they were in the NICU. She was screaming from the top of her lungs, and so we literally held them for 2 minutes. Walking out of the hospital was like the greatest feeling, and I was just so happy and proud. And okay, now we're going home, and now they're with me. It was an amazing feeling walking out of there. We were staying in Mombasa, and we brought them home, and then all the paperwork started. So then I had to do the court order, I had to get their birth certificates. Everything was a fight and a struggle. It's a different culture, a different way of doing things. So 3 weeks before we left, I went to Nairobi to the Canadian consulate, handed in all the paperwork, paid for the citizenship, paid for the urgent passport. Everything was fine. Everything went smoothly. I was like, oh, thank God I'm like on Canadian soil. Everything was fast. Everything was ready. Everything was great. And then we were about to leave and no word from the embassy. My mom's like, okay, we better go to Nairobi, bring the girls to Nairobi, let's just go, you know, don't they have to give us our passports, we have to leave, right? Went to the embassy with them, and nothing, after waiting 3 hours there, they said, no, we can't give you their passports because they're not Canadian. I mean, I would do it again 1,000 times over again for these two. I mean, they're my life, and no matter what struggles I have gone through or will go through, it will be worth it. Yes, you're not Canadian, you're stateless. It's okay. We'll get you your Canadian passports.
So Joseph Tito and his mother Stella are with us in studio this morning, as are baby Stella and Mia. Welcome to the whole family to your morning.
Good morning.
you. Good
So
morning.
good to have you here after sharing your story with our viewers. All right, first of all, what is it like to be home?
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
After Kenya, I mean, we're able to deal with anything, and it's just really nice to be home.
Yeah, so how have you been holding up through all of this? You've been a real support through this entire journey.
Well, of course, he's my son. I have to.
And these are the grandbabies.
My grandchildren, yes. That's our next step in our lives, right? Being a grandma.
You bet. Joseph, what is the latest in your legal case? You mentioned in the piece the girls right now are stateless.
They're still stateless. I just got an email saying that I'm good to sponsor them, and now they need to do their medicals, and then hopefully they'll get their permanent residency soon.
Yeah, we were explaining in the piece yesterday, and a lot of people may not realize the change in the law that happened in 2015, where it used to be that if children were born to Canadian parents, or they'd had a second-generation parent who'd been born in Canada, they would automatically have Canadian citizenship. And a lot of people don't realize that rule had changed, including yourself.
Well, yeah, exactly. So basically, because I was born Canadian outside of Canada, that made me second-generation Canadian,
Right.
and we were unable to bring them home.
So what happens next for the girls? What's the next status for them? What's the next step?
Well, the next step is for them to get their permanent residency, and then I have to apply for their citizenship, and yeah, then they become Canadian citizens.
They do have health coverage provincially while they
do.
are waiting.
They do, thank God. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
I
God.
bet. And how is everybody, health-wise and otherwise?
Everyone's good. They're sleeping.
They're very fashionable. Can we point that out?
They're very fashionable, yes, with their little Valentinos. But
I love it. I don't even have Valentinos, Stella. Listen, Joseph, we wish you all the best. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
sharing our
much.
story. Is there anything else you want to share with other families who may be in a similar situation?
Just be positive and hang in there, and everything will sort itself out.
Yeah. How long will you have to wait until you know about the residency?
The residency, I'm hoping within the next month, and I'm just happy that we're waiting here in Canada and
Yeah.
not in Kenya, and thanks to media and social media for that. And yeah, then after that, it'll probably take about a year for them to become Canadian citizens.
Personal question for you. How are you finding fatherhood?
I'm tired. I am tired, but
got
I love
twin
it.
girls.
I love it.
They are lovely, in a great family. Congratulations. Glad you're home here in Canada. Stella, thanks for coming in this morning.
She's answering your question.
Yes,
Mia
and
wants to
how's it
tell.
going, Mia? Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. How are you doing? Oh, good. Yeah, super glad. All right, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.